What if I told you that every time you lose your temper, you are handing someone else the remote control to your life? Studies show that the average person experiences anger episodes multiple times per week. And almost every single time, they regret it afterward. But what if there was a way to never let anyone steal your peace again? Stay with me, because this story will change the way you see anger forever. Once in a small village nestled at the foot of the mountains, there lived a man named Tariq. Everyone in the village knew Tariq, but not for good reasons. He was infamous for his explosive temper. If his wife added too much salt to his food, he slammed his plate down. If a stray goat wandered into his fields, his shouting echoed across the entire village. Even the sound of children laughing outside his window was enough to make him storm out the door, red-faced and furious. Tariq was convinced the world was broken, and he was the only sane man in it. His gentle wife, Nadia, would often look at him with quiet sadness and say, "Tariq, why do you give small things such enormous power over you?" But Tariq never listened. He believed that anger was strength, and staying calm was weakness. Then, one summer, everything changed. A wandering sage named Elias arrived in the village and settled beneath a great banyan tree near the well. People whispered that his words were few, but carried the weight of mountains. Nadia urged Tariq to meet him. Tariq laughed it off. But then one afternoon, a neighbor's young son accidentally broke Tariq's favorite farming tool. Tariq exploded. He screamed so violently that birds scattered from the trees, and the boy ran home in tears. That evening, Tariq sat alone in the dark, his chest hollow and heavy. "Why do I always feel worse after the anger fades?" he whispered to himself. That question kept him awake all night. Before sunrise, Tariq found himself walking toward the banyan tree. Elias sat perfectly still, eyes closed, a soft smile on his face. Tariq sat down awkwardly and said, "I am tired. People make me angry, and I cannot stop myself." The sage opened his eyes slowly and asked, "When anger visits you, how long does it stay?" Tariq thought for a moment. "Sometimes an hour. Sometimes the whole day." Elias nodded and said, "And when it finally leaves, what do you feel?" Tariq looked down, empty, exhausted, ashamed. The sage smiled gently and said, "That is because anger burns the one who carries it, not the one it is meant for. It is like drinking poison and waiting for your enemy to suffer." The next morning, Elias brought a clay pot of water and a handful of sand. He boiled the water over a small fire. When it bubbled violently, he asked Tariq to touch it. Tariq pulled his hand back immediately. The sage said, "That is your mind in anger. No wisdom can survive in boiling water." Then he dropped the sand in. The water turned murky and clouded. He said, "And that is your judgment when you react without thinking." Then he set the pot aside. Slowly, the sand began to settle. The water cleared. Elias said quietly, "This is what happens when you pause, breathe, and choose not to react. Your mind settles. And suddenly, you can see clearly again." Those words landed deep inside Tariq's chest, like a stone dropped into still water. He began practicing patience every single day. When a merchant tried to cheat him at the market, he simply said, "I will buy from someone honest," and walked away calmly. When young men mocked him in the village square, calling him a reformed fool, Tariq simply smiled and replied, "When someone offers you poison, you are not obligated to drink it." The group went silent. They had no power over a man who refused to react. Weeks passed, then months. The village began to notice. Nadia noticed most of all. And one quiet morning, Tariq returned to the banyan tree and said, "I finally understand. People never made me angry. My own unguarded mind did." Elias smiled and said, "And now that you know that, no storm will ever own you again. You cannot control what others say or do, but you can control your response to it, and that single choice is the most powerful thing you will ever own." So the next time someone tries to shake your world, breathe, step aside, and remember, you are not obligated to catch the dirt. If this story moved something in you, hit subscribe. Every week we bring you stories that quietly build your strength from the inside out.